Well, I went to D&L Parts today. Here's my transition, flawless as usual. I went to D&L Parts today, and I was talking to the manager there, which, I've been going to D&L Parts for a long time, but I haven't been there in a few years. And when I walked in, and I didn't recognize anybody, of course, and there was the counter guy, and I didn't know who he was, and there was a guy walking around, looked like a hippie, had like well, it looks, I'm describing myself now, a beard, but he had long hair. It's the difference. And turns out that was Pete, the same manager that had been there that actually proctored my EPA exam. He's been there for 18 years now. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's Christopher Walken. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I talked to Pete for a while. I'm just like you guys, go to the supply house. You want to talk to the guys in there for like half the day instead of doing work, because talking to the other guys about stuff that you do at work is better than doing work, I guess. So I talked to him for a while, and then got to kind of give away something here now. I asked on YouTube here, and I'll bring it up real quick. Let me go over to the other screen. Asked on YouTube, I put up a post, and I really didn't ask. It was speculation for guessing. So started up a Trane heat pump split from 2007 today, but it would not work because the blank was bad. True story. I will tell you guys on a live stream tonight. Well, I didn't live stream that night, and I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, but I could not live stream that night. I was intending to, but I did not. And I guess it doesn't matter what you intend to do if you don't do it. So 38% of the people said it must be the compressor. 23% of the people said indoor TXV. 7% said blower motor. 19% said condenser fan motor. And 12% said outdoor TXV. Well, the part that was failed was the indoor TXV. Of course, it's always a TXV. Don't you people watch social media? It's always a TXV. Even if it wasn't, I would lie and say it was, but it actually was. My big hint was it's 2007. And in that time period for Trane, split systems, heat pumps with air handlers, there was a lot of bad TXVs. Now, the happy thing is that it was a bolt-on TXV, and they are real easy to change. I didn't have to cut any copper. I just slid the coil out slightly, unbolted the TXV, little clippy on the lines that go toward the back, the equalizing line and the sensing bulb. Endeminus? Is that what that's called? Endeminus? Little clippy, and then I take the valve off, put the new valve on, bolt it in right there, use my 2 wrenches, my torque wrenches, that's right here. Probably could use a torque wrench. Didn't really think about that, especially on the equalizing line because it's a flare connection to the suction line. Could definitely use a torque wrench. I don't know where those specs are at, but I guess I could have used just a regular flare nut torque spec out of a mini split guide maybe. I don't know. But I torqued it by about 25 inch-pounds or something like that. I'm flexing my arm for people on the podcast. Just imagine me flexing my arm, okay? So I torqued it down real good. Maybe too much. The nut didn't crack in half or nothing, but I was about there. I was probably about there. Pretty easy change out. It's about the easiest TXV change out you're going to do. The hardest part was in the crawl space, but it was a pretty good crawl space. So no cutting copper, nothing like that. And started things back up. The first time through it pumped down because the TXV was slammed shut. It would not operate. I flipped it into heat. It's real easy to do. In fact, I made a video of this whole thing. It's real easy to do. I hear my Discord beeps now. I should mute those while we're talking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But go over to Discord. It's a lot of fun. I think Al J, you just went over there, man. It's great. So it was pumping down and cooling, so I flipped it into heating. Of course, everything's working great in heating, which is a big indicator that it's a TXV. Plus, then this is where experience hits the diagnostic, because back in the day, these were going bad all the time, this time period. So when I see that air handler, I'm like, okay, well, this happened a lot to this air handler. I'm going to pull upon my experience as a field service technician in diagnosis of a bad TXV. Switch it out. Bam, bam. We're working great. Put some 422B in there and she's humming 95% as good as R22. And here's the pain in the butt of it. I should have done more testing. I didn't really have time because literally this house was being put on the market. This was this morning that I finished this up. I finished up at 12 p.m. Had to go into Wilmington, 30, 45-minute drive into town, pick up the part, another 30 minutes back toward the job, get there, unbolt, bolt, blah, 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 vacuum, went swimmingly again, and add just a little bit of charge. I think a couple more pounds of charge in the system, 3-ton split. And she was doing really, really well.